Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now this bit is for the parents, guardians and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned. Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to the Learn Live channel and today's Safe and Sound broadcast. Safe and Sound is a project set up by Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service with the aim to support communities to make informed and positive lifestyle choices, improving their health, safety and well-being with some safety tips and tricks. This project runs a variety of interactive and practical workshops for people of all ages and is delivered by multiple partners and agencies such as Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service, Tamworth Borough Council, Staffordshire Wildlife Trust and HMB Training. But first, before we begin, please remember that if you have any questions, please use the live chat next to the video player. If you leave a question on the live chat, one of our speakers will get back to you as soon as possible. Also, if you keep in touch with us here at Learn Live, simply use the subscribe option at the top of the page. So now I'll be handing over the rest of the broadcast to Paul Carter. Paul works for Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service within the Safe and Sound project, and he'll be hosting the rest of the Safe and Sound broadcast. Over to you, Paul.
Hello everyone, welcome to Safe and Sound on Learn Live. Thank you for joining us today. Special thanks to Learn Live for all their hard work putting the programme together. This week we have in no particular order Tamworth Borough Council, Staffordshire Wildlife Trust, Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service and HMB Training. As usual, I'll be asking you a question after each topic and hopefully you or your teacher can enter your answers in the live chat area of the screen, together with your school name. Answers at the end of the programme, of course. So let's get started with Andy, talking about strangers.
Hello, good morning everyone. It's Andrew Smith again, Tamworth Borough Council. Hope you're all nice and well. I managed to pick another nice day today to do our next talk. Now, over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing a talk about strangers. Today, we're just going to be talking about strangers. Next week, we're going to be talking about something called safer strangers, because there is quite a big difference there. Now, I'm sure many of you at your age obviously have done lots of work and talked about strangers lots of times before, but it certainly doesn't hurt just to remind ourselves about certain rules and things you should and shouldn't do regarding strangers. So first of all, what is a stranger? Have a think about that. Quite simply, a stranger is somebody that you don't know, or they don't know you. Okay, and for example here, I'm at a park. In the background you might not be able to see yet because it's quite a way away. There are lots of people on the park at the moment this afternoon, and I'm sure, because I've had a quick walk round, I don't know anybody on that park. So to me, they're a stranger and they don't know me, so I'm a stranger to them. Now that doesn't mean for 1 minute that they're bad people, okay? Because obviously we see lots of people every day, particularly if you go into town or you get public transport. There could be lots of people you meet every day you see there that you don't know. But that doesn't mean they're bad people. Most people are not bad people and they're just like me and you, okay? But there are certain rules and things you do need to be a bit wary with regarding strangers, and that's what we'll be discussing today. So I'm going to give you a few scenarios as the video goes on, and I want you to think about what you would do in this situation. Okay, so hope you enjoy the video again, and we will see what we can find. Right, hello again. As you can see, it's a beautiful day. I've come to this park here. Lots of people, quite a few people around. I don't know if you can see them here. People walking, dogs playing on the park. Now, chose this particular spot, as you can see. There's some football posts. Now, I often bring my son here. We enjoy having a good game of football, and sometimes some of his friends have a game as well. But I want you to think about this regarding strangers. Now, supposing you were here with some of your friends and you were playing football, okay, in this lovely area. And then all of a sudden, a man or a lady, doesn't matter which one, came over to you and just said, "Excuse me, I've lost my dog. My dog was here walking with me and now it's ran off and it's lost. Would you come with me and help me try and have a look for my dog?" Now, what should you do at that point? Now, you should always say no, unfortunately, because you don't know that person. You know nothing about that person, and there is a chance they may well have lost their dog. It is possible. It's not impossible, but unfortunately, and we've had some real life examples of this, where people have come up to young people in a park, just like this park here, and have said to them, "Excuse me, young man or young lady, I've lost my dog. Would you come and help me find the dog, please?" And what you should do is say no, and you should walk away, and you could even, when you get home, tell somebody about it. I think that's a good idea, just in case there are people that have had this happen to them as well, other people, and you know, it might need to be reported to the police if it keeps happening, or the police might need to investigate. So as much as you think you might be doing that person a favour, you don't know that person, you know nothing about them, so you can't be certain, okay, if they are good or bad people. So you just need to be careful. So please, if that ever happens to you, please say no, walk away and tell somebody. Hello again. As you can see, we're outside of school at the moment, and I'm just going to give you a real life scenario and tell me what you do in this position. So supposing it was the end of school and you were waiting outside for your mum or dad, whoever it is, to come and collect you. But on this occasion, they were a bit late. Now, what would you do? Because this has happened in Tamworth a couple of times. What would you do if a car pulled up, could be a man or a woman, or a man or a woman approached you and said, "Your mum and dad rang me and they've asked me to come and collect you and take you home." What would you do at that point? Well, firstly, you would immediately say no. You would go quickly back into your school and you will tell somebody as soon as possible, because that shouldn't be happening. Okay, tell a teacher, mum and dad, when you get home, whatever it is. I can tell you now that if somebody else was due to pick you up, your teachers would make you aware of that, your mum and dad would have made you aware of that earlier, and obviously it'd be somebody you know. But this has happened in Tamworth, so please, 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 if ever anyone you don't know approaches you outside school, if you're waiting for mum or dad, or ever picks you up and they suggest that they're going to take you home, immediately say no and go and tell somebody, because that needs to be reported to the police. Hello everyone, I'm back home now and just wanted to quickly recap. So obviously a stranger is somebody that you don't know and they don't know you. Obviously we come across strangers every single day, most of us, and most strangers are absolutely fine. They're just like us, they're lovely people and they're absolutely fine. But it's just when, like some of the scenarios I've used, if strangers come up to you that you don't know and ask you to do things that are a bit unexpected or you don't feel comfortable with, that's when it's time to say no and tell somebody. So, for example, like we discussed, if you're at a park and somebody come up to you, a man or a lady, and said about, I've lost my dog, would you come and help me look for the dog with me? I mean, it might be genuine, but you just don't know, and the safest thing to do is say no and then tell somebody. If you're outside your school waiting for mum or dad, they're a bit late, somebody comes up to you in a car or just walking in the street and says, come home with me, your mum and dad have said it's okay, you can come home with me, we have had this in Tamworth, you just say no and you tell somebody straight away. The other thing to mention as well, because people have tried to do this in the Tamworth area before, is offer people treats. So for example, chocolate here, which I've got here, occasionally we've had people, strangers, come up to young people with sweets, chocolates, things like that, offered them to them. And the best thing to do if you don't know the person is just say no. It could be that they've been very kind, but often it's usually they want to get your trust. Okay, so anything with strangers like that that feels uncomfortable, strange or unusual, just say no to be on the safe side and make sure you tell somebody. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed the video today. Next week we're talking about strangers again, but a bit different this time. We're going to be talking about safe as strangers, and that's different because there are times in our lives where sometimes we need to ask strangers for help, and I'm going to talk to you about how you can do that nice and safely. So, hope you have a great week, hope you've enjoyed today and learnt something, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Andy. The question is, what is a stranger? Now it's over to Brad, talking about fireworks safety. I know this is quite early for a bonfire night topic, but not too early to get this very important safety message over to you. Bonfire night's only, 4 weeks away?
Welcome to Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Safe and Sound. My name is Brad Robbins, and today we're going to talk about fireworks safety, the lead up to bonfire night. Did you know it is illegal to buy or have possession of fireworks if you're under the age of 18? And you can be fined up to £80. Now, within Cannock Chase area, we have a lot of issues of young people setting fireworks off at skate parks. Firework code says never put them in your pocket. Adults should always supervise children around fireworks. You should only light sparklers once and always wear gloves. Never give sparklers to children under the age of 5 and keep your pets indoors. This may scare them when the firework goes off. Did you know that a sparkler burns at 2000 degrees, 20 times hotter than boiling water? A firework can travel 150 miles an hour and 200 metres into the sky. Now, we want you to stay safe this bonfire night and celebrate the night safely. So please visit our website for more information and more tips.
Thank you, Brad. The question is, how hot does a sparkler burn? Now over to Amy, talking about whittling a wooden mouse.
My name's Amy, and what we're going to be doing today is we're going to learn how to whittle with a potato peeler a little wooden mouse. So what you'll need for the equipment, you'll need one potato peeler, one stick, so I've got a straight little bit of hazel here. You will need some pipe cleaners for the tail, and then a little pen, permanent marker, Sharpie, anything really that will use them to make the face of your mouse. Now when you're using a potato peeler, you need to make sure that you always peel away from your body. We don't want to be peeling towards our legs, we want to peel away from us, down towards the ground so we're not going to injure ourselves as well. Make sure that you're holding the top end of the stick, and then you simply run the bark, peel it off. Now, depending on how dry the stick is, will take a little bit more time to peel off. But all you want to do is just slowly take the top layer of the bark off to reveal a face. Now you can keep going to make it a little bit flatter, so that's what I've done with this one here. And then once you've done that, that really is all you need to peel off. And then what you can do is you can take your little pen and draw on some eyes. Maybe draw on a little nose and whiskers. Maybe draw on some ears. Now you could also try and stick ears on with any bits of natural materials that you find as well. See if you can make it a little bit more of a rustic mouse. And then use your pipe cleaner, and all you do is then you just wrap it round the edge of your stick and just twist it round so it sticks together. And there we have one little wooden mouse. There we go, so it's nice and easy, so make sure we use the potato peeler with a grown-up, always away from us, always towards the ground, always to the side of us as well. And then draw on the face and ears, and then add the tail. Nice and simple. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully see you soon.
Thank you, Amy. The question is, describe the health and safety points to remember when using a peeler. And now it's over to Heather to talk about CPR.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the session about first aid. This week we are going to go through a defibrillator. A defibrillator, what it does when somebody is not breathing, it shocks their heart back into rhythm. So what it does, there are two pads, so we're applying the two pads. So the heart's here, one goes here and one goes to the side. And what it does, these two pads talk to one another, and it establishes whether there's any heart rhythm in the heart. If there is no heart rhythm and it's out of rhythm, these two pads talk to one another and send a shock into the heart, and it puts it back into rhythm. So here's mine. This is just a training one that I use on my training courses. What this does, so it doesn't give out a shock, but it does imitate what exactly does happen within a real life defibrillator. Now these are kept in a yellow box. And these sometimes a yellow box if they're on the outside of a building. If they are within, my local Tesco have them, and they're right next to the customer services, pubs and clubs, community centres, churches, schools have them. So if your school has one, I know a lot of schools now are trying to raise funds to actually have one of these in their school. So that is what a defibrillator looks like. So somebody is not breathing, you called 999. What 999 will do, somebody's in your household is able to go and fetch a defibrillator. They will tell you where your local one is and give you the code to get into the defibrillator box. Now, when we open, so we come home, we've opened up the defibrillator. In this package, you will get a set of pads. You'll get like a little package, and in that package, you will get a cloth to make them dry. So if they are wet, then you've got a cloth at hand to make them dry. You will have a CPR mask in there. You would have a razor. Now, if they have got hair, body, chest hair, then that needs to be shaved away, because that hair will act as a barrier and it'll act like a form of garment. What we need to do is take that garment away, which is the hair, so these pads can stick skin to skin. So if there is any hair there, it'll act as a barrier. There, and then that's it. So there's 4 items. There's a razor, scissors. So scissors to cut up the material, your clothing, because these need to be skin to skin. They won't work on clothing. There will be a cloth and there will be a CPR mask in the package. When you have received and brought home one of these machines, life-saving machines, what will happen is that you need to switch it on straight away. Somebody will be doing CPR, and when they are doing CPR, we try and minimise any interruption to CPR as much as we can. Once CPR is being commenced, you come home, this arrives, you switch it on, and you just follow the instructions, and they're dead easy. Where these pads go, so there's instructions on these pads, and they show you the picture where to put the pads onto the casualty. What we would do is strip off the clothing. Somebody will stop that CPR, and then we attach the pads on. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to switch on my defibrillator. On the defibrillator, they may look differently, different sizes. These pads might be actually fixed to the machine, but they all do the same. They've all got an on switch. Majority of them are, unless they're fully automated. If they're fully automated, they won't have a switch, but majority of them do have a switch, an on switch. They'll have, some will have, some will have a child setting. If it has got a child setting and you are a child, then you can press this button, and then they'll have a shock button. Under any circumstances, you can't give anybody a shock. If this is not flashing, you can never give a shock. You can't give it wrong. So if you have put the pads on and you press that button, it won't give out a shock at all. Only when it flashes, so you can't go wrong. And if this machine doesn't detect a heart rhythm that's unstable, so if it detects a heart rhythm, it won't give out a shock, and it won't give out, you can't give out a shock either. It is a really, really good machine. They are life-saving equipment, and they're easy to use, and because they save lives, so within 8 minutes, you've got 64% chance of this working. So it's very, very good life-saving equipment. That's why they're coming popping up everywhere. So your homework is, if you don't know where your nearest one is, when you're having walks or you're going to the shop, your mum and dad, whoever does the shopping, can go out and see if they can find any, and they can come home and tell you. So they are out and about a lot. So I'm going to switch it on, and I'm going to follow the instructions. Okay.
Adult patient. If the patient is a child, press the child button. Remove clothing from the patient's chest. Remove packet and apply pads onto patient's bare skin. Apply pads as shown in the pictures.
And move all firmly in the middle of the pad.
Remove packet and apply pads onto patient's bare skin. Press pads firmly on skin.
Okay, so I've done that.
Apply pads as shown in the pictures. Apply pads as shown. Press pads firmly on skin. Do not touch the patient. So analyzing heart rhythm.
Now, I have to move away
Do
from
not
the
touch the patient. Analyzing heart rhythm. Shock advised.
That's establishing if the heart's
Do not
beating.
touch the patient. Everyone clear. Press the flashing shock button.
So now this is flashing. This is where
now.
the shock will be delivered. So you do not touch the casualty.
Press
You stand clear.
now.
And then that
Shock
is the shock.
delivered. Begin CPR.
So mine is clicking. When it clicks, it's telling me that's my compression.
10.
So then I can do CPR in line to
20.
the beats. And my defibrillator counts. And it might be that yours count too.
30. Give 2
And
breaths.
then I'll give my 2 breaths, head back and do my 2 breaths, and then I continue. The defibrillator, so I'm just going to pause it. The defibrillator will continue, so you keep on following the instructions. Every time it clicks or every time it bleeps or flashes, you do a compression. You do 30 compressions and 2 breaths, 30 compressions and 2 breaths. And we keep on going until the defibrillator interrupts. And the defibrillator will interrupt roughly about 3 minutes. So after the 3 minutes, we would follow the instructions. So it'll say, stand clear, do not touch the casualty, analysing body rhythm, do not touch the casualty, and then it'll say shock is required, and then the shock button will flash again for us to do another shock. Hopefully the casualty will respond quite quickly to the shock. If there is a child at home who is not breathing, then we can still use a defibrillator on them. The only thing with the defibrillator pads is that they're too close together to the heart. So when I put one here, and I put one here, the shock is, the pads are too close together and they're just not in the right place. So what they recommend for children is one on the front, and then what we do is one on the back, in the middle of the shoulder blades, on the back, and then, well, what we should do is roll them forward, and we use 2 people to help us. So one on the back between the shoulder blades, and then one on the front, and then we follow the same instructions as we would do with an adult. We'll keep on going with the defibrillator and with our CPR, and then the ambulance should hopefully arrive very, very soon. So I hope that was informative, a little bit more information about what a defibrillator is and what it does, and actually what it sounds like. And people think these are really scary and we're not going to touch them. You don't have to be first aid trained, anybody can use them, they're accessible for everybody in the community, and they're foolproof, you can't go wrong with them, they're really easy to use. So hopefully you've enjoyed that video, a little bit more about defibrillators, and you know how they work. Okay, see you soon.
Thank you, Heather. The question is, do you have to be first aid trained to use a defibrillator? So, thank you very much to all our presenters this week. The answers to the questions are: a stranger is a person who is unknown to another person or yourself. A sprinkler burns at 2,000 degrees. Amy's advice includes peel away from you and down towards the ground, not over your legs but to the side of your body. Keep your hands away from the peeler blades and peel with a grown-up if possible. For the defibrillator, no, you don't need to be first aid trained or qualified to use one. So that's it for another week. Remember, the programme will be available on demand on the Learn Live website for you to view at any time, or please pass it on, share it with others so they can view. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all again next week. Goodbye.
Thank you, Paul, for hosting this extremely important broadcast today. And like Paul said, there'll be more of these broadcasts coming up over the next few months, so please keep watching. I just want to say another thank you to all the speakers from Tamworth Borough Council, Staffordshire Fire and Rescue Service, Staffordshire Wildlife Trust and HMB Training. The tips and information you've given today are so important, so thank you for your time. And as Paul said, if you have any questions for our speakers today, please leave them in the live chat next to the video player, where they'll get back to you as soon as possible. So that's all from us today. See you next week as we have more speakers from Staffordshire Fire and Rescue, partners and agencies. You don't want to miss it. In the meantime, stay safe and stay connected.
Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it. So let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.